Hey guys, today I want to show you how I set up my local environment to do web development. As a reminder, you can jump to different sections of the video by checking out the description. Let's try to visualize what we're going to do today. We are going to install a local server management tool called Laragon. Laragon is going to come with a web server, scripting engine, and a database. Also comes with a database management tool, and out of the box it will create a web folder for you. For the web server, comes with Nginx. We are going to install a more widely used server, that is Apache. For PHP, it comes with version 5, which is very old. We are going to add version 8. So the good thing about Laragon is that it lets you switch back and forth between multiple versions. So let's say someone hires you to support a PHP 7 project. You can easily add version 7 here and switch back and forth depending on what project you're working on. For the database, it comes with MySQL. So Oracle now owns MySQL, and people are not sure if they're going to keep it alive or keep it free. Just like Java, Oracle is going around trying to charge companies for Java licenses, even though it has been free since the beginning of time. We are going to install MariaDB, which is a drop-in replacement for MySQL. After we have Laragon installed, I'm going to use my web browser to validate each one of the components inside the dotted box. We'll also use Visual Studio Code as our programming tool. We'll create HTML files, cascading style sheets, JavaScript, add an image in there, and of course PHP files. Alright, so that's the plan. This is Laragon's download site. We're given the choice of a full installation versus a portable installation. I'm going to choose the portable version, so when I get a new laptop I can just move the whole setup over. Okay, Laragon is downloaded. Since this is the portable version, there is actually no installation involved. Just send zip and we're done. I'm going to move it under a folder that I created. You can put it wherever you want. Under our Laragon folder, we find the Laragon executable. I'm going to pin it to my taskbar. We'll open it. I'm going to start my services just as a quick test. As you can see, both MySQL and Nginx are started. We'll do a full validation later in the video. Now let's take a look at the Laragon folder structure. Our default web folder is right here. We can find MySQL here and Nginx right here. Also PHP is right here. Let's install Apache. Here is Apache's download page. We'll get the 64-bit version. Notice that Apache depends on Visual C++. If you don't already have this, follow the 64-bit link and install Visual C++. Here is how you verify whether you have it or not. Go to the Start menu. Make sure you have the 64-bit version. I already have it. Let's extract Apache. We'll open the folder. When I take the Apache 24 folder, we'll put Apache inside Laragon. Notice that there is no Apache folder here. We'll create a new one. Now we can't run two web servers on the same machine. So I'm going to rename Nginx to hide it from Laragon. I'll launch Laragon. Let's verify that it sees Apache. It does see Apache. We're going to start all the services. If you see a firewall message, just allow access to private network. Apache is installed. Here's PHP's download page. The current version is 8.1. We are given the choice of non-thread safe and thread safe. For beginners, we'll stick with the non-thread safe version. PHP also depends on Visual C++. 2016, the link to download that is here. If you don't have this, go ahead and follow the link and install it. We'll extract PHP. We'll move it to Laragon's PHP folder. Find Laragon in the tray icon on the bottom right. Point to PHP. Point to the current version. We'll change it to PHP 8. Let's check again. Version 8 is selected. Here's MariaDB's download page. Let's select the latest stable version. Windows, 64-bit, zip, download. We'll unzip MariaDB. First, we'll go into the MariaDB folder. We'll take this folder and copy it over to Laragon. Under the MySQL folder. Now we start Laragon. Let's make sure it can see MariaDB. Here it is. Let's select it. Let's start the services. Now that we have Laragon installed, let's go install Visual Studio Code so we can create some files inside the web folder. Here's Visual Studio Code's download page. Again, I'm going to pick the portable version. Let's extract it. I'm going to move it to my folder here. Let's get it on the taskbar. Back at our diagram here, we're going to point Visual Studio Code to our web folder, and we're going to add some static content. These types of files are called static content because they don't change. All the web server does is grab the file and sends it to the browser for rendering. After that, we're going to try to create some dynamic content. When the web server encounters a PHP file, it sends it off to PHP for processing. PHP returns HTML back to the server, which in turn sends it back to the browser. We'll also connect to the database, grab some data, write it out to HTML, and send it to the browser. We'll use HeidiSQL to connect to the database to create some tables and some dummy data for PHP to grab. We have Visual Studio Code open. Now I'm going to point it to my web folder. I'm going to create a test.html file. I just pasted some basic HTML. Let's have our browser open side by side with Visual Studio Code. We'll go to our test page, and it is showing our HTML correctly. Now we'll apply some styles. We'll reference the style sheet. Refresh the page. The style sheet is working. Now let's add JavaScript. We'll trigger the JavaScript by clicking on the text. We'll link to the script. We'll refresh. Now I'm going to click the text. our JavaScript is working. Next, we'll verify PHP. I'm going to rename my HTML file to .php. When VSCode detects a PHP file, you might get this warning. We need to point VSCode to the location of our PHP installation. Let's find PHP. Because the backslash is a special character, we need to escape it by putting 2 slashes. Now let's write some PHP content. We'll create an array of numbers. We'll need to change this to PHP. PHP is working. Now we'll use MySQL to connect to our database. The host name is localhost. Username by default is root. No password. And this is the default MySQL port. We'll click open. These databases are part of MariaDB. We won't touch them. We'll create a new database. Okay. We'll add a new table to the test database. We'll name it table 1. We'll add an ID column. We'll make it auto increment by itself. We'll make this column our primary key. Add another column. Call it column 2. Make it a string type. Hit save. Our table is created. Let's check out the data. We'll add some data to the table. ID column will auto assign a ID, so we'll just add some dummy value. Let's add another one. Let's do one more. Now we have a table with some dummy data to work with. Back at our PHP file, we're going to connect to the database and select the dummy data that we just entered. I'm going to copy this piece of code directly from php.net. The first line is connecting to the database. Database name is SDB. Our username is root, no password. We'll select from our dummy table, which is called table 1. Okay, let's refresh our page. Let's add some spacing here to make it easier to see. I'm going to format this so we can read it easier. We have our ID column concatenated with a space and our column 2. And then we'll do a new line. This is more easier to read. Up until now, we've been using our default web folder. Let me show you how to switch to a different project. We'll start our services first. I'm going to point to Laragon in the tray icon. This is where we can switch projects. Currently, we have the default web folder selected. Because I switched projects before, my other project shows up on this list. Otherwise, you would choose select another and browse to the folder. So I'm just going to select my project. I'm going to launch localhost. So what I'm showing right now is a simple website for my uncle's restaurant. In the last few years, a lot of restaurant business shifted to takeouts and online ordering. You probably ordered from one of those food ordering sites before. Well, they take a hefty chunk of revenue away from the restaurant. So I thought I'd help him out by adding online ordering to his website. I'm going to pretend to be a customer. I'm going to browse the menu. Pastikus looks good. Add that to the cart. We'll check out the chef special. This one looks good. I'm going to go to my cart. This looks fine. At the time of this recording, the restaurant's already closed. So the pickup time is set to tomorrow morning. Let me just fill this out. Check out. Note that we're using stripe.com to process credit card payments. If you guys can look away for a second, I'm going to enter my credit card number. Okay. Here's the confirmation page. If this was a real order, the customer would receive a confirmation email and the order would be sent to the restaurant. If there's any functionality that you're interested in, I can talk about it in a future video. Just leave me a comment. Here's the live site. If you happen to live in the Bay Area, please consider checking them out. Alright guys, that is it for this video. If you learned something today, please give me a like. If you enjoyed the way I presented the material, please subscribe. I'd like to learn more about you and what you're interested in learning. Please leave me a comment. I appreciate any feedback you have. Thank you for watching.